Hello folks, welcome back to the channel. Thank you very much for joining me once again. You're always most welcome. Well, Telford is upon us, and this is just a quick video because of course predictably our good friends at Airfix have unveiled their new super kit, a 24 scale monster. We haven't had that now for, what is it, 3 years since we had a completely new tool, and 4 years now, losing track, 4 years I think. That's going to be available very, very soon, and there's been much speculation. Everybody, including me, expected that they were going to do this because somebody was saying last week, oh, they've just unveiled this Spitfire Mark 9E. That must be the release for Telford, and I was saying, no, it isn't. Anyway, contrary to what some people thought, several of you are convinced that I had inside information and were trying everything you could think of. Well, they didn't try much in the way of cash, but anyway, but not that that would make any difference. Forgive me for saying that. No, I'm not really like that. But several of you were trying to get this out of me, prise it from my lips, convinced that I had deep intel on this subject, which I didn't have. Somebody did though, because somebody leaked it on Reddit. Oh, not cool. Anyway, never mind about that. That's for Airfix to investigate. But somebody definitely leaked it last night. But let's get into it and have a look at what they produced. Now, I was genuinely, despite what people think, I didn't have a clue. No, I had no knowledge about this at all, any more than I did about the Jaguar or the Stalwart back at the start of the year. But frankly, if I hadn't been told in confidence, that I'm afraid that is the way it would have remained. As those of you who tried to pry it out of me know, because they were saying, oh, you know, don't you? What is it? And I said, well, I couldn't possibly comment. Which is what I'd say if I did know. But anyway, I didn't know. But here we go. So I actually hoped, if I'm honest, I was hoping it was going to be a Hurricane. Because I think that for the Battle of Britain, either a Hurricane or a Bf109E from the Battle of Britain. But it wasn't to be, wasn't to be. And as soon as they started playing the video, I've got to be honest, I'm going to show you a bit of it, but there'll be no sound. But the presentation video from Airfix, I knew straight away that I was going to be disappointed because I listened and I thought that is not the sound of a Merlin engine. And I should know, yeah, having been on one for an hour nearly. Well, on a Spitfire obviously with a Merlin. And I knew straight away it wasn't a Merlin engine, so that meant it wasn't a Mustang, and it wasn't a Spit, and it wasn't a Hurricane. And it definitely sounded, I thought, that sounds a lot like a Daimler-Benz engine to me. Sure enough, so let's get into it. Let's have a look then. So here we go. I saw this. This is the first shot they showed you. They were very naughty, very teasy with it, I've got to say, for a number of reasons which I'll explain. So this was the first shot. I thought, Hurricane, 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 Hurricane. And then I looked at it and I thought, it was only on the screen for about 3 seconds, and I thought, no, I don't think that is a Hurricane. Something's wrong. And this is the way it plays out. Okay. They're very craftily teasing. Now that's definitely a Bf109, a G, I think. And then you're thinking, it's a 109, it's a 109. And then you see these other images, this image, which throws you slightly. And I was thinking, is it a dogfight double or something? What's they done here? And then you get, again, more images that make you think, well, it's probably a 109. It's got to be a 109. And it just gets a little confusing. And I'm thinking, yeah, it's a 109G, it's 109G. And then you get this image where it shows the front of it, which leaves you in absolutely no doubt at all that it is, and then they actually come clean and say, yeah, it's a G5, G6, 109. Now, I just let this play through and then talk some more once it's finished. Showing those American and the British markings was a bit cheeky, I thought, quite clever in a way. Although people were complaining that they shared a lightning bolt, and that certainly confused people. So you can see the Spitfire likeness when they say it's very like a Spitfire, but it's not a Spitfire. Okay. Now here's the thing I'm very sort of divided in my mind about this release. I'll explain why, and whether you feel positive or negative about it depends on which side of the fence you sit on, really, I suppose. But I must say, looking at these images, if you look at the photos, and there's a very good, by the way, if you just bear with me 1 second, I'll actually just get you a very good, 1 second, There's an image somewhere I'm looking for. There it is. So here we go, and I'll go to the Airfix website in a second. Yeah, sorry about that, I have my head in it. I don't really want to see that, do you, the best of times. But there we are, that's the artwork. Now that looks absolutely cracking, I've got to say. Showing it amongst the B-17 bomber stream. There's even a Spitfire in there that's an escort for the B-17s. Now here's the thing, here's my take on this. Now this is an initial reaction because I haven't seen it in the flesh yet, but I will tomorrow. My feelings are as follows, based on not seeing it yet, and so there will be one or two possible assumptions here. Based on the images, I have to say the quality of this looks out of this world, frankly. This could be the best model kit that Airfix have ever manufactured, based on what I'm seeing. Some of those images. Now there is on their website, if you'll bear with me just a second, again, I need to just get back to, here it is, get back to Airfix, sorry about that. I'm doing this on the fly, so I'm getting ready for Telford, so you'll have to forgive me if I'm not being the most professional. But basically, you can see here, you look very closely, that's the artwork. Let's move this in a bit. And then they've got their images, and it really does look particularly high quality. I mean, the engine bay particularly, I hope they ever zoom in on this in a minute. The engine bay looks absolutely staggeringly good. It's got, yeah, there's the Daimler-Benz. I'll just zoom this in a bit more, really. There we go. Look at that. I mean, that really looks amazing, frankly. And frankly, yeah, it's got to be the most detailed engine bay we've seen in a Daimler-Benz that I can remember anyway. Then we've got this one in the American markings. Just zoom back a bit again. Back in the American markings here. And yeah, again, I mean, I don't know who built this, whether it was Paramjet or somebody else at Airfix has done it themselves, whether it's been done by some master builder, you know, who's been embargoed and kept it secret, I don't know, but whoever built these kits has done a fine job, I've got to say. Very fine job. And the British markings looks like a Spit or a Hurricane. And then you've got it, so there's a selection of markings. Now the only thing that worries me, concerns me, disappoints me on the markings is, well, predictably, there is no tail symbol of the swastika, which I hope there is some means to produce that in the kit. I'll be disappointed if it isn't. I think we've had this conversation often enough, really. But just flicking back, it really looks to me, I'm just going to zoom in on this again and try and give you the feel for some of that detail, really, because that looks absolutely epic. It really does. Look at that. Everything's there. They've got the wiring, they've got the plumbing. You can see parts of the ignition system and the cooling system. It's all there. That's really nice. Now, so why am I not absolutely raving about this then? Because it's clearly, it looks like a leap forward in terms of the quality of the kit, frankly. That does look to be a super high standard to me. But there's two elements to it. Well, first of all, I mentioned that the swastikas, that's a little bit, I understand why they don't put them in, and I fully understand and sympathise with them wanting to sell in markets where that's not allowed. I fully understand that. That doesn't mean they can't do what others do, like ICM, and produce something that enables you to make it within the box, and they should do that. Now, I understand there's going to be masks included, which is brilliant. That's excellent news, really good. You know, which is what a lot of us have been shouting about for a long time, especially on a big kit like that. So that's absolutely fantastic. Now, where it's going to be made, that will become clear. It may be known already. I am suspecting that's not going to be made in India. This is only, don't, you know, shoot the messenger here. I'm just speculating there. I suspect that's going to be a UK produced kit. I hope it is, because obviously we've got this quality concern. Everybody's got that, I think, in the back of their mind. But if it comes out, you know, on the sprues looking as good as it sort of implies with the build, they've probably got a winner on their hands. My other reservation is just the subject matter. I personally, for example, I think that there are more than enough G109s on the market. You've got the Zokimuras, you've got the various Edward iterations of it, you've got Tamiya in 1/48, which produced a beautiful model, one of the best ever in my opinion. That one I've got, which I did I think I did a nice job on that. I should have just blown my own trumpet for once. One of my better efforts for sure. Up there with the Sea Harrier, but of course with none of the problems. And it really came out absolutely stunning. I really like that model. I think it's one of my best. And that is a very fine kit indeed. I personally don't need a 24 scale. It's a little bit big for me, for my cabinets. But if that's not a problem for you, then it's probably, and if you want a 109, you know, the thing that came across to me was, initially I thought, oh, my heart sank a little bit because of the choice, that's all, the subject choice. Then when I saw the images of the actual model, I thought, oh wow, this is really nice, you know. This looks proper impressive, yeah. And they're charging $99.99 pre-order price. I don't know whether it's going to be slightly more than that on the shelf later. I don't know whether it'll be over 100. I hope not. But that's a good price, actually. I think that's competitive for what it is. Size, you know, given the scale it's at, I think that's very competitive. So it looks very good. I just think they played it very safe for commercial reasons, which I think people will understand. But it's just a very flooded market, that 109G series of 109s. Very flooded, you know. It's like the Spitfires market. Really, it's almost the same thing. Really, I'm brutally honest about it. They've done everything they can to produce another Spitfire without it being a Spitfire. What's that I hear you say? I like Spitfires these days. Well, I do. Yes, I'm not criticising. Who am I to judge? Let he who is without sin, over the back of my shoulder there, my flight certificate of a Spitfire. Let he who is without sin throw the first stone, yeah? But yeah, it's joking apart, it's a saturated market, and you've got to want a 24 scale one, haven't you, really? I can see a lot of people buying this kit and not building it, actually, because they're going to want to see it, and you know, if it's really as good as we think it is, if the quality is good, which is very important. I think it's absolutely critical to get the quality right on this kit. Absolutely critical. But if they do, which I've got a hunch, a gut feeling they probably are going to this time, then it is desirable. It is desirable. I'm not sure I'm going to personally purchase one, but I might. You know, I don't know. I'd certainly like to see it. I think it's going to be a good model. Actually, I think it's going to be something worth seeing. But as I say, you've got these beautiful Zokimura kits, and you've got Border, and you've got, I say, Tamiya, and quite a few other people in this market at other scales. And Matchbox, I know they didn't do a G, did they? But I really wanted to see an E, and this is why I'm sort of got a slightly begrudging tone. I really want to see a Battle of Britain E, because the one that they've got, of course, is ancient and was horrible in the first place, really. So I'm a bit disappointed they've gone for the G. If I'm critical in any way about it, the choice, there lies my criticism. It's just that they didn't go for an E, because I think that perhaps an E4 or an E7 at that scale would have been really cool. Anyway, that's just me. But you know, Airfix will turn to me, and no doubt Dale will say, "I gave you what you wanted. You be quiet now. Hush." Which is fair comment, I suppose. But I can't wait to see it at Telford. I'm sure that we're all going to be rushing in there, making a beeline to see that and getting our cameras out, you know. And I think it's going to be, it sounds like it's going to be here probably Christmas, New Year time. It'd be nice to get it for Christmas, wouldn't it? But it sort of says winter 25, 26. I think they're in the lap of the gods in terms of the shipping people. It sounds like it's in production as we speak. But it takes a while to get here, depending where it's coming from, of course. So when I say that, if it is coming from a UK manufacturer, shall we say, without naming names, then it could be, yeah, that might be something they might be able to get some out for Christmas. Who knows? But I don't want to raise people's hopes on that. But yeah, I think it looks very nice. Bit predictable. That's my only criticism, really. Bit predictable. Some concerns about the quality, which could very quickly be dispelled instantly. And who knows, I might become a fan, because don't forget, on my 48 scale Tamiya, I did the A Higher Call, the famous book about Franz Stigler and Charlie Brown. Charlie Brown was the B-17 bomber pilot. Franz Stigler was the G6 pilot that didn't shoot him down near Bremen, I think it was. Very interesting story. Definitely worth your time reading that one or audio booking it. And frankly, you could perhaps get. I don't think the actual markings are included for that particular squadron because he had the Berlin Bear on it, didn't he? Yeah, and I don't think that's included. I can't remember. Is it Jagersvaardis? I can't remember now. Memory's gone. But anyway, you may need to get some aftermarket. But even so, you could, you could do that version. But it needs some swastikas, you know, to make it look proper and realistic. So I've got a few reservations about it, but overall, I think the impression I was given from what my brain was saying, oh, and my eyes were saying, shut up, you! It's fantastic! Look at it! Just look at it! My God, like this! Amazing. I mean, it does look really cool. So hats off to Airfix in terms of the presentation, in terms of the model making and the photography and all that stuff. Did look nice. So good luck with it. Anyway, I'll look forward to seeing it on the stand at Airfix along with everybody else. I'll be in the scrum tomorrow probably. And until next time, I hope to see you over the weekend and enjoy Telford if you're going. And who knows what else might get announced at Telford. Maybe somebody else might pop up with something. You never know. Because we haven't done much from Hong Kong Model recently, have we? And there's another manufacturer that you never know if they're not going to pop something out of the blue. You can always keep our fingers crossed, and you never know what might happen. Anyway, enjoy the show, and if you're not going, don't worry. That I'm sure that from myself and many other YouTubers, there's going to be plenty of stuff for you to watch. Plenty of. I'm going to do probably some photos, a montage. I think I'm not going to actually go around videoing because it's really difficult to do well unless you've got full gimbal stabilisation. You can clear people. You can't do it. In my experience and judging by feedback from people in previous years, you're better taking still photos and then montaging them because you get a far better quality image. People enjoy it more. Just take lots of pictures and then do the work afterwards. But we shall see. Anyway, I'm sure it's going to be lots of fun. I'm hoping the food's going to be better this year because the food did improve slightly last year. They had an extra room, didn't they, next to the where the competition room was. They opened up this extra room which had better food. The food is all right for sort of breakfast, but I don't find it at lunchtime to be terribly not a lot of choice and not that great and certainly not cheap. So ouch. Maybe take my own sandwiches. Who knows? Be a right tight fist. Anyway, hope to see some of you there. Take care of yourselves. Make sure you take care on the roads because it's very dark these days and we've got some iffy weather. And let's hope we'll enjoy the show and we'll be talking about it next week. Until then, thank you very much for joining me on this brief one. Take care of yourselves. Until next time, thanks a lot. Take care. Bye for now.